Okay, back here. Oops. Students, guys are right here. Okay. All right, guys. Yeah, welcome to multivariable calculus. This is Math V21C. Hopefully, you guys are in the right class. Um, so yeah, this class, I'm sure you probably know a little bit about kind of what's going on. There was three classes offered. I think one of them was fully on campus with John, and I think he's out for at least a big part of the semester, possibly more. So they got a sub for him. And I think some students wanted another option. And I had a hybrid course that was meeting originally. I think it was on Wednesdays, but it didn't fill. And our dean went and talked to a couple of the classes and found out that students are more interested in an asynchronous class just because of the scheduling stuff. So they decided to offer one kind of last minute and it was able to fill. So that's why we're doing this. The downside is this class is been compressed a little bit from 18 weeks down into 16 weeks. So we are going to kind of move a little faster than normal. And it's already kind of a big class. It's got a lot of content to get through. But I'll talk about what I've done to kind of make this work for this class in a minute. But I wanted to introduce myself. So my name's Mike McCain. I've been teaching multivariable calculus, this class, for probably like 7 or 8 years or something like that. It's my favorite class to teach. I really enjoy it. I don't enjoy it as much online just because it's I really enjoy the connection. So I'm hoping you guys reach out to me a lot via email. Actually via Zoom would be the best. I have office hours and I'm gonna talk to you about devoting some time to you guys on Friday. I'll have some Zoom hours for you. It doesn't have to be Friday, but we'll maybe figure out something that works for most of you. So yeah, let's do this. I'm going to kind of walk you through the structure canvas really quick and then show you where all the buttons are, show you where you can change settings, show you what all these links are. Um, and then we'll jump in my lab to take a look at some problems and we'll also walk through the syllabus. All right. So I'm going to keep the chat box open. So on your Zoom bar at the bottom, there is should be a button there that says chat. And I think if you click it, uh, you'll be able to chat with me. Actually, I think you can chat with everyone, or you could pick someone to chat to, probably. But can you let me know that's working? Can you just say hi in there? Mm, awesome. Hi, guys. All right. Okay, thank you. So as we progress, um, if you have any questions, type it over there in the chat. And if for some reason I miss it, I'm going to keep the chat open on the side while I'm talking today. And if for some reason I miss your comment or your question, just unmute yourself and let me know. I am recording this and it's only going to show my face and my voice unless you unmute yourself. If you're comfortable with it, that's fine. If you just want to write it in the chat, that's fine too. All right. So do you have any questions before we start? I'm going to kind of talk about probably just about everything, but any questions before we start? Okay. Laura's good. All right. If you do, go ahead and write it over there in the chat. All right. So, let's see. So, I'm not sure if all of you or some of you are local or not. So I'm gonna at least show you kind of how Canvas works. I know this might be a review for some of you, and that's okay. I'll just go through it real quickly. I did, Laura. Thank you. Yep, I put a note for you, so you're good to go. Um, all right, sounds good. All right, so do you guys see my screen? Should see recent announcements at the top. Okay. All right, when you log into our course, into Math 21C, our course, this is what you'll see. You'll see some recent announcements at the top. These will always post the most recent announcements that I've posted. It'll do the most recent 3 posts. So you'll always see that right when you log on. If you want to see older announcements that I've made, you can click there and then you can see a complete list of every announcement I've made for the semester. Um, Below that, you have some modules that you can open and close by clicking on them. Right now, we are in the Home tab. This is the home screen right here. And this little um, um, list of links right here, this is called the course navigation panel. So I asked you to click the Zoom with Instructor button in the course navigation panel to get to this meeting today. So, and then over here, this is called the global navigation panel. We don't really use too much of this. We're going to mainly use the course navigation panel. Okay, over here on the far right, uh, you have a link to a visual calendar, which you can get by clicking this button on the far left where it says calendar, or you could click that button. I believe they take you to the same place. Yep. They take you to a calendar where you can see a visual of our due dates for this semester. So as you can see, um, oh, I haven't posted all of them. I've only posted 1 week so far. Essentially, what it's going to look like is this. We're going to have due dates generally on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for your homework. Again, this is a compressed course. Normally, I'll have like 2.5 sections due per week. Because it's compressed, it's going to be a full 3 sections in general every week, with a midterm and a final. So you guys are going to be busy, and it's gonna take some time. So we'll talk about that more in a minute. Let's go back to our course. Can I go back here? There we go. Um, Also, right here where it says view course notifications, if you go in there, there are some settings that you can change that will allow you to turn on and off notifications for, let's say, when I post an announcement, you can have it send you an email, as soon as I post an announcement so that you know to check your announcements. Um, you can have it give you a notification when you get a grade. When I go through and make a change to your grade, it'll do that for you. A bunch of other settings in there that you might want to play with. Over on the far right, you have this to-do list. This doesn't work as well as I'd hoped. We use 2 programs. We use MyLab and Canvas, and they don't always play well. So what I would suggest is, as far as due dates and things to do, I would just work through the content down here. They have the dates next to everything that's due. So, maybe this will help a little, but it's not always right. Um, so I wouldn't count on this. All right, below that, or over in the middle of the screen, you'll see a getting started module. And I've asked you guys to kind of work through this. The due date for this is January 22nd, which is today. Hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory how to work through this. In order to take the syllabus quiz, obviously you'd want to read the syllabus first, which is over here. And then this last part where, I ask you to attend or watch a video. So you guys are attending. So just make sure when you open these guys, um, I need you to submit this to me. So click start assignment and then just type it in, just so I can confirm that you have completed everything. So you're going to have to do that for each of these guys. All right. Below that, you'll see a resources module. Here you can find a link to our e-text. You can find a roadmap for the course. I'm going to be showing you this today just to give you a big picture for what we're going to be doing. There's a study card. You might want to print that out. And there's some, algebra, trig review, geometry, derivatives and integrals from Calc 1. Oh, they don't work, Laura? Okay, I'll take a look at those tonight. Sorry, I've been kind of throwing this class together, but maybe some of the links don't work. So thank you. I'll take a look. Um, some review from Calc 1 and 2, and we'll talk about this button later on. I don't think you'll need them for a little bit, so you'll be okay. All right, now here's where the content of the course is located. Um, so you're going to see chapters pop up. This is chapter 13, and I've only posted 2 sections so far in chapter 13. Um, the first section, 13.1, we're going to discuss vectors in 2 dimensions or the plane. And then in 13.2, we're going to discuss vectors in 3 dimensions, or you could call it space, 3-dimensional space, I should say. Um, so before we jump into that, though, let's go over here. You guys know what this button means, Zoom with instructor. That's how you're going to reach me if you want to join my office hours or you want to meet up. If we schedule a meeting to meet one-on-one on Zoom, that's where you'll go. You guys know what announcements are. Instructor notes. These are notes that I've been kind of developing over the years. Um, I've created them in a program called Mathematica, which allows me to create animations for you to kind of um, help you visualize some of the concepts. So calculus essentially is the study of motion, um, how, variables change with respect to other variables. So I've created some notes and I'm continually updating them. Hopefully the first section's okay. In order to upload them or to look at them, you're going to have to download the CDF player. It's called the Wolfram CDF player. I think it's in the links in the syllabus. I think there's a link here too. If you open that file, it's a PDF. But once you open them, uh, you'll be able to interact with my notes. Oops, there they are. So basically, you can click and open stuff. You can zoom in and zoom out. See if I can find something I created. If there's a little triangle next to it, you can open and close things. Let me see if I can find something that's, yeah, okay. So in this first section, you're going to talk about how vectors can be slid around. So if you take this guy, you can slide it around. Um, Let me show you one that's more interesting. Let's do this. Oh no, where did your page go? Okay, let's go to, what would be more interesting? Let's go to this one. Let's go to this one. Uh, Open. That's not it. Download. There it goes. So in this later section or chapter, we're gonna be looking at these things called double integrals. In this particular section, we're gonna be doing double integration over rectangular regions. So, yeah. So here's something where you can kind of see the power of this program. So, we're asked here to find the volume underneath this surface up here. So you can actually take the surface and kind of move it around by holding down the mouse and moving around. There's some check boxes there. You can kind of see the idea of what we're trying to do. Sometimes there'll be sliders. This one has some sliders, and you can see things change in real time. Okay, and I'll be um, in the videos that you guys will watch, they'll be using these as well. I create a lot of my own. There's also some that come with the textbook, so um, you don't have to use my notes, but they are there to help. And whenever I help you outside of the given lectures, I'm going to be using my own notes because I prefer them. But they go right along with the textbook. Okay. All right. And then there's a online program here called Math 3D. This is made for multivariable calculus. You've got all these different objects that you can you can play with. For example, if you wanted to make let's say a parametric curve, let's say it's cosine t sine t, let's change it to maybe t squared. As t goes from negative 2 pi to pi, that curve right there is the parametric curve that vector function describes. You can add in sliders. Don't worry if you're not getting all this. That's okay. We're gonna talk about it. Change that to an A. And then you can put the thing in motion. All right. So we'll talk more about that later. Oops. Somehow I lost the page. Where is it? All right. We'll just have to go back. All right. Desmos. Are you guys familiar with Desmos? You guys heard of this one? It's another online graphing program. It's pretty popular though. You might have used it before. Anyone? Yeah, I figured. Okay. Yeah, it's for graphing 2D stuff. So you might want to check it out. It's graphing calculator. You can type in, stuff and it'll change in real time. There's some settings up there to change the axes, and if you hold down shift and move left and right, you can change the aspect ratio. So pretty cool stuff. All right, below that is a link to your current grade in the class. So if you go in there, you can at the very bottom, you can see your current grade. And if you want to see kind of maybe it's nearing the end of the semester and you want to see what you need on a particular assignment to get a particular grade in the class, you can actually just type it in. Like, let's see, I don't know. I don't have much posted yet, but let's say you got a 27 on this one and you can type in a 27 there. It's called a what if score. And then it'll tell you what your grade in the class would be if you got that on that assignment. So this should help towards the end of the semester when you're kind of trying to figure out what you need to pass or to get the particular grade you want. Below that's a link to the syllabus. We'll jump in there in just a minute. We're going to use this button once, Access Pearson. This is only to get access. You're not going to go there to do your homework. To do your homework, you're going to click Home and you're going to click here. If you try clicking Access Pearson, you're going to go to a page that's blank, so it's not going to help you. And then also there's some online program called NetTutor that I think the school subscribes to. I haven't had very good luck with it. Pretty much none of my students have used it. I think the best place to get tutoring is going to be the tutoring center, the Ventura College Tutoring Center. And we'll talk about that as we work through the syllabus. Okay, so I've given you kind of a bird's eye view of at least what the course looks like in Canvas. Over here, this is your Canvas messaging system. This is how you email me. The rest of the stuff you can pretty much ignore. You're going to be uploading a picture of yourself there. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the syllabus, but before I do that, do you guys have any questions so far? Brandon's good? All right. Okay, I'm going to keep going. If you do, just write it in there and I'll be checking. All right. No, I'm assuming most of you already read the syllabus, so I'll go through it kind of quickly, and I just want to touch on the more important things. Okay, let me make this a little bigger. There we go. All right, so this is fairly important. So this is an online class. Uh, it's technically a hybrid class because we do have two required on-campus exams. They're proctored by me. It's possible that I could set something up at one of our sister schools or an approved call. If you live far away, we can find a university you could go to, and we're gonna have to work with their testing center. Hopefully, most of you guys are close, and you'll just take it with me. But in any case, um, you do have two exams, and they are a big portion of the class. It's kind of the trade-off for taking this class asynchronously. Uh, it means that there's going to be a little more pressure than usual on you to stay up with the course and reach out for help and take notes as you progress and keep your written work so that you have something to study come test time. Okay. I am going to take, I think I have a week or maybe a week and a half devoted to for kind of reviewing your work, getting ready for the tests. But but it's going to be a lot. We have a lot of stuff to cover. All right, so here's the two test dates. Wednesday, March 13th from 6 to 9 p.m. That's your midterm. And then again, Tuesday, May 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. And that's your final. They're non-cumulative in the sense that this is going to just test you on the first half of the semester, and the final exam is just going to test you on the second half of the semester. And they're 3-hour exams. Okay, so these are required. There's no option to take it online from your computer somewhere. It has to be proctored either by me or by an approved proctor. Okay, so before we go any further, do you have any questions about that? Okay. All right. All right. So I'm going to keep going. All right. So contacting me. So I was mentioning earlier the Canvas messaging system, this guy right over here. That's how you're going to contact me if you have a general question or, about the course or anything. Use that thing. It'll tell me what class you're in, and we don't have to go back and forth trying to figure out what your CRN is and what course you're in. So use this. If you want to reach me by phone, you can contact this number, and it should forward to my cell phone during work hours. So go ahead and use that. I have no problem you guys calling me. It's just going to be 15 of you, so I can handle it. And if you do have questions about the material or anything, make sure to reach out. I do enjoy this stuff a lot, so you'll 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 notice that when we talk about the math. If you have a particular MyLab question, this would be, the problems that we're doing. You're going to use a little button that's labeled Ask My Instructor, and it looks like this. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll show it to you in just a few minutes. All right, and the reason you want to use that is because it'll send me a copy of the question that you're concerned about. Like if it was problem number 13 and it was some difficult thing, you don't have to retype it to me. It'll send me a copy of that question along with your question. Okay? All right, so that's how you're going to contact me. We do have some computer requirements for the class. This course doesn't work on an iPad. It doesn't work on a phone. It doesn't work on a Chromebook. Uh, these devices don't run Mac OS or Windows. So you're going to need to have a laptop or desktop running Mac OS or Windows for you to take this course. Now, for your mobile device, this one shouldn't be a problem since I think nearly all mobile devices run either iOS or Android. So you don't necessarily have to have iOS or Android, but there is a part of the class where you submit work to me. And if you have iOS or Android, you'll be able to easily download a program and take pictures and upload your work to me relatively effortlessly. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about the computer requirements for the course? Mhm. Okay. All right. Thanks, Laura. I'm going to keep going. All right. So MyLab access. How does it work? Well, everyone needs to get MyLab 18-week access. It's somewhere between $70 to $100. I'm not exactly sure. It changes and I can't see it on my end. Um, But every student needs to register for MyLab Access today. All right. Now, you might be freaking out. I don't have $100. I don't have my credit card. That's okay. You can still get started by registering for free temporary access as long as you follow the instructions in the Getting Started module. I believe the free access is 14 days of free access. I kind of like that option because you can try out the course, see if it's going to work for you, and if not, you can drop and you're not out any money. So I would suggest everyone do the free temporary access, at least for the first week, and then grab your credit card and if you want to stay with it and purchase. All right. So let's see. Yeah, so the end of the first, so next week, you're going to have to decide whether you're going to stay in the course and pay for the 18 week or you're going to drop. So um, sometime Sunday or maybe a little after, I'm going to drop students that aren't permanently, that don't have the full 18-week access. We do use an online text. Uh, it's calculus. It's called Calculus or Multivariable Calculus by Briggs, Cochran, Gillette, and Schultz. Schultz also uses the program I use, Mathematica. So the book is made in Mathematica. So he's also created a number of animations. So you're welcome to use uh, to play around with those. All right. So if you want a physical version of the book, you can. I know some people like to do that. You can probably find a version on Amazon or online somewhere. You don't really need the current version, um, but it's up to you. All right. These are my office hours this semester. So I'll be in my office, which is in science. Oh, I didn't put it in there. You might want to write this down. It's in Science 338, Science Building 338. I'm in there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 12:15 to 1:15. And you can join me in person, but you can also join me on Zoom. I'll turn in my Zoom as soon as I get to the office. Um, and then I also have 2 additional hours, which are by appointment. And um, I made them Friday kind of for you guys. I'm not sure what time would work best for you. Um, maybe I'll send out a little survey or something to see what would work best for you. I wanted to do it a little later in the week so that you could reach out with your questions, your more difficult questions. I'm not around over the weekend though. So if you write me over, the weekend, you're not gonna get a response until Monday. So I think Friday would probably be that would be a good time. Maybe I could do it later in the day or the evening or something. Oh, Friday evening, I don't know. I think I probably can't do Friday evening. I'm sure you guys don't want that either. In any case, to join these meetings, you're going to click the Zoom with Instructor button. I'm going to be sending out lots of announcements as far as what to expect. Again, 5-unit course, we've been compressed into 16 weeks. So you can expect anywhere between 11 to 16.5 hours of work per week. Some weeks, honestly, are going to be more than that, and some weeks are going to be less. I would say that's about the average. Um, It also kind of depends on your prerequisite knowledge. If you're solid in 21A and solid in 21B, the Calc 1 and Calc 2 stuff, this is about what I would expect. But if you're missing a bunch of information, it's going to be harder for you to kind of keep up and retain the information. So it's up to you. Make sure you kind of weigh out, I know you guys have other classes, you got families, you got hobbies and other things, work that you're all trying to balance. So make sure you kind of consider each of those things and weigh out how much time it's going to take you how much your investment of time in each of those areas, and pick the things that you want to do. I'm not going to tell you have to take this course, right? But pick the things that you have time for, and because I'd like you guys to have a good experience. It's actually a really fun class. The material is awesome, but it is hard. It's going to take some work. All right. As far as graded assignments, um, we have 4 areas for grading. You're going to be submitting lecture notebooks to me. You have two this week. You have one that's due Wednesday and one that's due Friday. And so let me explain what this is. Big picture stuff. Normally during a class, you would meet with me for 5.5, 6 hours a week. Um, you would drive to school, you would sit in the desk, and I would lecture on a board. And while I'm lecturing on the board, you guys would be writing notes, right? Trying to retain information for you to take home and help you with your homework. So we don't have that because we're doing this online. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to watch some videos. Now, these are publisher provided videos. Um, I have my own videos, but what I found when I used to post them, mine are much longer. They're more involved. And I think for most of the course, at least for the first part of the course, most students weren't interested in watching them at all. But towards the end of the course, where things get a little more uh, complicated, I think they liked having my videos available. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of see where you guys are kind of going. I'll check in. If you guys want me to post some stuff or send you individual links for my videos, I'll do that. Um, I can probably just post my whole class, I guess. It's not going to line up perfectly, or we can meet and I can record those too. So we'll kind of play it out as we go. But in any case, what you're going to do is you're going to watch these videos and you're going to be taking notes, and these need to be good notes. Okay, so I'd like you to read through this really carefully for what's expected to get full credit. Now, I know this kind of sucks watching a video, but that's the only option I have. I can't do live lectures with you. I'm not allowed. It's an asynchronous course, so I'm not allowed to have regular meetings with you online. So it has to be videos. But make sure you read this really carefully. I'm going to be grading these. You're going to be using this program on your phone to take pictures and upload them to me. The idea is to create kind of a notebook for yourself that you can use throughout the semester and go back and reference. These videos are a lot shorter than my lectures. My lectures for each section typically are, 2.5 hours or so, and these videos are more in the 45-minute to hour range. They are more efficient, and they basically focus on the essence of the section. Um, and the first part of the course isn't too bad, so I think you guys will be fine, at least for a while, with just those videos. But make sure you read these instructions carefully. You're going to be handwriting these. Um, so everything that you see in those videos, make sure you write down. Okay, read that carefully, and then you can click there for an example. All right, so that's the trade-off, right? So if we're not having to drive to school and sit in a desk, and I mean, that's got to probably take up 7 or 8 hours a week. You just have to watch a couple videos and take some notes and make sure they're really good. Okay, it's a good trade-off time-wise for you. I know it sucks, but the alternative would have been worse, right? Especially since most of you guys are super busy and can't make it to campus anyway. All right, my lab problems. This is where you're going to work through a bunch of problems in this program called My Lab. There's a bunch of help in there. There are some example problems. There's a help me solve this option. There's a ask my instructor button. There's some animations. There's some links to videos in there. For the most part, I would say 95% of the problems, students are able to use the help and get through all of the problems fine. Okay, so there will be some that'll be a little difficult and you'll want to reach out to me and I'll do my best to help you out. Now, because it's an asynchronous class, we lose the interaction that students normally have with each other. So to get that back, we're going to do some discussions. We're going to have a discussion for each section. Um, so here's what we're going to do. I used to require students write their written work for all the MyLab problems. I mean, even last semester, It was a lot of work. I had a lot of upset students, but in any case, I'm not going to make you write out your written work, take pictures, and upload it to me. I would suggest doing that because you're going to want to have something to study for the exams, but you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it as neat and careful as I like. In fact, you don't have to do it at all. I would suggest it though to prepare yourself. But what I am asking you to do is for each section, you're going to pick a problem that you've worked out, and it has to be handwritten, and you're going to take a picture and you're going to upload it, and you're going to share it with the class. Um, and then the idea is the rest of the class, we're going to look at your work and we're going to look at your notation, and we're going to see whether you did a good job solving it. We're going to offer constructive feedback to your problem. We're going to look at your notation. Did you use proper notation? For example, when we write vectors, you should always write an arrow above your vector. Um, when you're writing, I don't know, let's see, your vectors in component form, you need to write triangular braces. Um, there's a number of notation things that you're gonna be introduced to, and I think oftentimes there's a tendency to ignore that stuff. But in this course, I really emphasize in a grade on notation, so you're going to want to pay attention to that stuff. This will pay off when you take the next one, which is differential equations. It gets even more meticulous then. But if you learn to be meticulous now, it'll help you in diffie. All right, so make sure you read these. There's two parts to every discussion. You're gonna post your worked out problem along with a problem statement along with your solution, and then the rest of the class uh, we're gonna analyze it, right? We're gonna look at it. We're gonna give you some feedback on it, uh, and this is the easiest part of your grade, to be honest. Um, you should have already done the work because you did the MyLab problems. So this is just for honest feedback. Again, it's kind of like you do it or you don't do it. I'm not really grading on you know, so much on quality. As long as you try and you give good feedback, I'm good. It's either credit or no credit, okay? But the point here is to actually give you guys feedback. It's one problem from each section. So pick one that you think maybe was a little hard for you, and hopefully some of your peers can give you some valuable feedback on how to do the problem or maybe make it better. Um, we'll kind of feel it out as we go. All right, 5% of your grade. Now the big one is the exams. There's two exams. They're worth 40% each. I know that's a lot, but I don't really have a too much of a choice. It's an online class and there's only uh, two required meetings. So these are the only proctored parts of the class. So and all my classes are 80% proctored now. So um, I was hoping we could meet more for tests, but they weren't really um, happy about that. I was hoping for five, but so it's going to be a little pressure for your exams, but we'll do our best. I'm definitely setting some time aside, and you'll get some practice with the discussions as long as you take it seriously, and I'll prepare you for it. All right, so I'm going to take a quick little break here. Do you guys have any questions so far on the class? Oops. Lecture notes plus all other. Maybe bump the homework points, lower the tests. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean those kind of, I didn't mean suggestions. I mean, do you have any questions? Yeah, th this is already kind of set for the class, Laura. No questions? Oh, Megan asked about how many sections do we do per week? I would say on average, it's pretty close to three. It's a lot. When I was putting this together, I was like, geez, you guys are going to be really busy. Um, I've taught this course enough to know where it gets a little tricky. There are three or four sections kind of towards the end of the semester that really bogs students down. So on those particular sections, I only assign two sections those weeks, but that's later on in the semester. Any other questions so far? Okay, thanks, Megan. Brandon, excited as I'm going to be taking differential equations for, oh wow. Oh, the 8 week. Are you taking that this semester, Brandon, or over the summer?
I'm taking it this semester. I'm currently taking linear algebra. That's also an 8 week course. And then the same teacher is going to switch to differential equations right after that.
Wow,
So,
that's a lot. Okay, you're going to be really busy then.
but it's so fun. It's really fun.
Oh, okay, awesome. Well, if you like it, yeah. I teach diffie too, so if you have any diffie questions, I can help you with those too.
I probably will because I'm not expecting to understand that when I get there. I
Yeah,
had Jack Bennett for Calc 2. He's like, I'll get ready for diffie Qs. You ready?
yeah. Well, Jack Bennett, his class is pretty good. So you said you took Jack?
Dude, yeah, I took him for Calc 2 last semester.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you should be well prepared for that class. You do use some of the not a lot, but a little stuff from this course when we get to partial derivatives. It's pretty straightforward, but you'll be using those in differential equations. So but we won't get to that for a little bit. So you might get to it first in diffie. We'll see. Okay, so Megan asked, when will the sections be posted? Like at the start of each week. Oh, I'm gonna post stuff at least kind of 2 weeks out. Um I haven't posted anything next week just because I kind of got sick and I was kind of throwing this together last minute. Um but in general, I'd like you to be able to work on the current week's material and the next week's material. And I do that on purpose so that you can kind of plan for, if you need to do something, get out of town, you have some family stuff or whatever. So you can kind of work ahead a little bit. All right. And I can't open it for the whole semester, unfortunately, because I'm just not allowed to. It turns into a different type of course and they don't want us doing that. All right. Any other questions before we continue? Okay. No problem, Megan. Okay. I'm going to keep going here. So, all right. Now, this one's fairly important here. And this is always a little confusing, so I'm going to be absolutely clear on this, all right? You guys do have due dates, which are generally on I think it was Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. However, I do have these emergency extensions for you. I like to call them emergency extensions because you should really only use them if it's an emergency. Now, I don't know what your emergency is or whether it really is an emergency. So anyone can use them whenever they want. But I'm telling you, if you use them all the time, um, which you can do on almost every assignment, um, at some point you're going to back yourself into a corner because you'll use the extension, and there's no additional extension beyond these extensions. So here's the deal. You have stuff due Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but you have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. of that week to finish up all your assignments for that week. Okay, it's kind of like a catch-all. This is again only for emergencies. All right. How do I know? I don't. But for example, I use this in my statistics course, which I'm currently teaching. And I just got an email for a student. Today's Monday, right? Yeah, today's Monday. I just got an email from a student that didn't submit their work until Sunday at like 11 o'clock p.m. And it didn't work. Like they were trying to upload it and it wouldn't work. And so they asked for an extension. The problem is that it was already due on Thursday. It was due earlier, and then the extension was Sunday, and then they wanted another extension. So there's no additional ones. Okay. So this is kind of a at your own risk Sunday extension. That means if your internet goes down, there's nothing I can do on Sunday. If my lab goes down, you get called into work, anything happens. The idea is to avoid putting yourself in that situation. Okay. So try and finish the stuff by their due dates, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you won't have any issues. If you do have an issue, you could use Saturday. And then Sunday would be your last ditch like effort. And then hopefully you don't have any emergencies that day. All right. So I want to make that absolutely clear. Now, if it asks you for a password, the password is just LATE. All right. Now, I think just the MyLab problems ask for a password. So other than that, you're not gonna be using it. All right. All right. All right. Grades. I already mentioned how you can check your grades. I don't think anyone else is trying to add. We only have 15 students. So I'll skip that. Dropping policy. Um, yeah, I'll have to change this actually because we don't have any required meetings. As long as you're keeping up with the course and turning in your assignments, I think what I'll do is I'll make the lecture notebooks. If you miss more than, let's see, 2 weeks would be, I think it's going to be five of those. If you miss more than five, then you can be dropped. I'll make that change, send an announcement, just to make sure you guys stay on top of it. All right. Academic integrity, just make sure you read that. We're going to be taking tests on campus, so I'm not too worried about this. Um, Professionalism. Oh yeah, I forgot to. Okay, this. If you guys could do me a favor during the semester. My name's Mike. I prefer Mike normally, but when I'm teaching a course, I prefer or I'd like you to call me Mr. McCain or Professor McCain or Professor. Okay? And there's a reason for that. When you guys move into, the career of your choice, there's kind of unwritten rules a lot of the time that you kind of have these expectations at your job based upon what field you're in or where you're working, and it's important we kind of learn how to play the game within that set of rules so that we optimize our chance of success. And I can tell you this, in general, in academia, you're going to want to speak to your professor this way. It'll set you up good for when you guys go to university. um, I know the first name basis. I used to do that stuff, and um, it was cool, but and I liked it to some extent. But I noticed that um, I don't think it really helps students in their future plans. So I'm going to help you with that stuff. All right. So let's play our kind of roles this semester, and then also when you email me. I'm going to kind of critique your emails. And again, I don't really care. You guys can send me anything, but I want to give you some feedback so that when you work with your professors in the future, um, you'll have the best chance at getting what you want. All right. That's my goal for you. So for example, if I got an email that was poorly written or maybe a lot of misspellings, or maybe I had a bunch, I used to get some that would say, hey dude, what's due tonight? That's totally inappropriate. Like that, you don't want to write that to a professor at a university or your boss, or whatever it is. So I'll help you with that stuff. Again, it's not because I get mad or anything about it, but I just want you guys to have success in your future careers and classes. So read that article there and help you with that kind of stuff. I'm going to skip over all this. You can read through descriptions, objectives, and outcomes. There are some administrative dates. Pay attention to these. Um, oh, it didn't update. These are old dates. Okay, I'll have to update. Not sure what happened there. Um, I'll update that as soon as we're done with class today. Wait, these are right. It looks like the start date's off. Okay, so that's 122. That's the only one. As far as getting help, we do have the tutoring center, so make sure to reach out to them. In fact, if you guys could do me a favor, and I'd like all of you to reach out to the tutoring center, find out all the information you have so that when you do need help, which will be soon, you can hit the ground running and you'll know what to do. All right. So in your notes right now, maybe write down this number or click there. And I would advise going in and meeting them right away. I think you have to like sign up. It's free, but I think there is a process that you have to go through to get help. All right. And if there's anything I can do for you there, maybe I could talk to the tutoring center to see if they could find someone for the class. I don't know if they'd be willing to do it, but if you want something like that, let me know and I'll do my best to see if we can find someone. If you're a student with disabilities, make sure you contact the EAC because I can't do anything until I get information from them. Um, if you have Canvas problems, click there, and My Lab problems, click there. And I could change the syllabus, so um, if I do, I'll let you know in the announcements. All right, so let's pause there. And do you guys have any questions about anything I discussed on the syllabus? Brandon's good. Probably wanting to get out of here by now. It's been an hour, right? Keith, okay, what was your question, Keith? You can unmute yourself if you like. Might be easier. I can't hear you, Keith, but if you can also type it. Stephanie, and I'll jump to Stephanie really quick. Will the exams be graded with a curve? Not necessarily. Stephanie, in general, I try not to grade um, with a curve, but if there is an issue and I look at the exams and I see that um, the material or maybe the questions were too hard, and I look at this historically, right? I've taught this course 8 years, so I'm not going to be judging whether it's hard based upon the outcomes of this class, but on the outcomes of all my classes. Um, and in general, I don't curve too much. We'll talk more about that at the end of the semester. There is generally like a little bit, but I don't exactly know how much. And it's so small, it won't really make that much of a difference. All right, so Keith is typing something out. So anyone else have any questions? It's a very straightforward class. Okay, I removed a ton of stuff that we did last semester. I know it seems like there's a lot, but there was a lot more than this before. Um, just got to keep up with the work. Once exams come, you need to take those 2 weeks seriously. The bulk of your grade is going to depend on how you do on exam one and exam two. All right, so Keith asked, I'll type jot sure what is happening, but I live in Moore Park and have never been to Ventura, so should I find a day to find a tutoring center for the proctored exams or just find somebody here at Moore Park? Um, I would suggest coming here for the exams. As far as tutoring, you could find a tutor there at Moore Park. I would reach out to the Moore Park Tutoring Center. I would suggest going in person. They might have online tutoring. If they do, you could do either one, Moore Park or Ventura online since you'd be on Zoom anyway. That okay, Keith? Okay. Yep, yep, no problem. Okay. All right. Any other questions? We're just about done. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes and we'll get out of here. Anyone else? Hmm. Brandon said, at least here at VC for tutoring, there are people in STEM Harbor and Mesa as tutors. Yeah, definitely. Good. That's a good point, Brandon. Um, I really like Mesa. Mesa's got a little cubby downstairs in the science building, and a bunch of students go in there and they all work together. And I would strongly suggest if you're on campus or can make it to campus, reach out to the Mesa Center. I find that those students that get involved um, tend to do the best on average out of all my students. Um, and they do have tutors as well. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can get you guys a Mesa tutor. I think I just have to have 5 Mesa students in the class. So I'll check. And if I don't, maybe I can get a couple of you to sign up. Pretty sure we'll be good to go. I'll reach out to Mesa and see what I can do. Oh yeah, okay, no problem. Oh, you're Mesa. Okay, we got one. We got two. There might be enough already in the class. Okay. Okay, great. All right. Any other questions before we continue here? All righty. All right, so let's go back here. Let's go to home. Um, again, you guys want to work through this tonight, get through it, make sure you can finish everything here. Get signed up for at least temporary access by following the instructions here. Hopefully they still work pretty good. I made a tutorial for you to work through. Um, I'll post today's video in here, but just you attended, so you're good. And um, let me show you a roadmap of the course. Let's see if this is working. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to give you kind of the big picture of the course, just so you have an idea of what we're even doing in Calculus 3. So let's see, can I download this? I'm using a student account, which I'm not used to. Oh, download right there. Open. How do I open? Oh, that didn't work. Roadmap HTML. Oh, right here. Sorry. Let's download this. There we go. I just wanted to open it in a regular screen. How do I do that? I'm opening in the browser. Let me see if I can find it here. Where did I put it? Roadmap. Here it is. All right. All right. So I made this for the course just to kind of give you an overview of the course. Now, Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, that would be Math 21A and 21B here at VC. Um, we were working with these guys, right? This is a function of one variable. You'll notice I've named this function y, and it's a function of the variable x. So pretty much everything we worked with in Calculus 1 and Calculus 2, we were working with functions that look like this. That is, we had one input and we had one output. The input was usually labeled x, and the output is usually labeled y. You can think of this as being having one independent variable and one dependent variable. In this case, which one's the independent variable, the x or the y? The x is independent. You get to choose what to plug in for x, and then once you plug in the x um, into the function, you'll get an output. You get a value for the output variable y. Right. So single variable calculus, we pretty much just work with these. We'd call this a real valued function of one variable. It's real valued because its output is a real number, and it's a function of one variable, real variable. Now, in this course, no problem, Brandon. Yeah, in this course, we're essentially going to go back through most of what we learned in Calc 1 and Calc 2, but we're going to change the number of independent and dependent variables. That's pretty much the idea of the course. We're going to go back over, limits. We're going to go over derivatives. We're going to do integrals. We're going to do optimization problems. Um, it's kind of all over the place, but essentially the idea is we're going to redo calculus, but we're going to increase the number of input variables or dependent variables or both. So for example, in chapters 13 and 14, we're going to increase the number of dependent variables. All right. So what you'll notice here, this is called a vector valued function. You'll notice that it's got one independent variable. Can anyone tell me which variable I'm referring to there? What's the independent variable here? It's a t. Yeah. So I've kind of got like these three functions in there, three real valued functions, and I've kind of put them together, labeled this one the x, y, and z function, put commas there, and then I put these triangular braces around them. And we call this a vector valued function, but look how many outputs we have. We have one, two, three output variables, x, y, and z. So we've got one independent variable, and in this case, we have three dependent variables. And we can vary that. We could have two dependent, we could have four dependent. It doesn't matter, but that's the idea of these two chapters. And we call these things vector valued functions. They're also called space curves. We'll talk about them later on. Uh, when we move on to chapter 15 and 16, we're going to reverse it. We're going to fix the number of dependent variables to one, and we're going to increase the number of independent variables. So that's going to look something like this. This looks a little closer to what we have here. Um, you'll notice that we have one, two, three variables that we're going to plug in. So this has three independent variables. And let's see, we've kind of run out of letters. So let's use a W for our output. So our fourth variable is W, and we call that a function of several variables. So this is a function of one variable, right? This is a function of several variables. Now, a function of one variable with one output, you can graph this thing in R2 in 2 dimensions. You could go on Desmos and you could graph the function. But when you have something like this, it's got three inputs and one output. That requires three input dimensions and one output dimensions. That's a total of 4 dimensions to graph. And unfortunately, there are not four spatial dimensions. There's three spatial dimensions, but there's not four. So we're going to talk about how to see these things without really seeing them because they're 4 dimensional. There are ways that we can kind of think about um, graphs in dimensions greater than three. By the way, in your Calc 2 class, you guys have done a little bit of graphing in 3 dimensions. So when you did solids of revolution and stuff. So we're going to be doing a lot of 3D stuff. All right, finally, the last chapter, we're going to discuss kind of a combination of a vector valued function and a function of several variables. We're going to increase the number of input variables and output variables. And when you do something like that, it's going to look like this. And we call these things vector valued functions of several variables. We also call them vector fields. So the last chapter, 17. And if you're a physics major, you're going to find this particular chapter the most useful because we're going to kind of build up to some of the important laws from that you'll see in your physics classes, electromagnetism laws, right? Like was it Faraday's law and basically Maxwell's equations. Um, where you'll have the tools in order to um, work with those in your physics classes. All right. This class does build. We're going to start off in chapter 13, introducing these new toys called vectors. Are you guys familiar with what a vector is? Maybe from your high school physics classes? Let me know over in the chat if you know what a vector is. Okay. All right, we got some experience with it. All right, good. All right, well, we're gonna start with vectors, but we're gonna start from the very bottom and we're gonna introduce them to you and we're gonna start in 2 dimensions, then move to 3 dimensions. I want you to think of vectors as like a toy. the same way that you thought of real numbers as a toy back in algebra, right? We gave you the real numbers and then we said, okay, um, now go play with them, right? So we showed you how to add them together. And then you started adding numbers and then subtracting and multiplying and dividing. That's the same thing with vectors. We're going to give you some vectors, show you what they are, show you what they look like. And then I'm going to ask you to play with them, right? Add them, subtract them. Um, we're going to talk about what it means to multiply. It's not the same. It's a little different. Um, and then how to divide, which seems kind of weird. You can't actually divide a vector by a vector, but we can talk about different ways of playing with these things. And as we progress in chapter 13, we're going to work on the basics. There's actually no calculus in chapter 13. We don't get to calculus until chapter 14.2. But chapter 13 is very important because it gives us all the tools that we're going to need to work through the entire course. So spend a lot of time working through chapter 13. Try and get it down as much as possible because you're going to be using it throughout the course. All right, so let's jump over to my lab and then I'll let you go. Oh, I closed it again, darn it. Um, oh, here we go. 40, there we go. All right, so the lectures. Okay, so these are the publisher provided lectures. If you click there, what you'll see, this lecture is half an hour. They go through basically the basic theory and they give you some examples. You're going to be writing down everything that you see. You're going to want to take detailed notes on everything for credit. All right, so don't leave anything out. Again, this is a trade-off for not having to come to campus, right, and write these long notes in class. You're going to save a lot of time doing this. I know it's a pain, but think about all the time you're saving. All right, so as you work through this,
pointing from P to Q. Other ways we might denote vectors are with a single letter with an arrow over it, or with bold typeface if you're typing. Observe that the definition of a vector says nothing about the position of the vector.
okay, so these videos are actually pretty good. I would say they answer 95% of the questions that you're going to have. They'll get through the main content. As we progress later in the semester, you're going to find that the content's going to get a little harder, and you'll probably want to reach out to me, or I can post some of my videos to hopefully fill the gap on what you're missing. In any case, in order to submit your notes here, let's see. It says click here for instructions on how to upload. So click there, follow the instructions, and you'll be able to upload your lectures, your lecture notebooks. Your discussions there. I just copied this right out of the syllabus, so make sure you follow the instructions there. Post a problem that you'd actually like help with, and I'm going to jump on and give you some feedback too. Not
Excuse me,
every,
Professor.
yeah.
So we upload the lecture in my lab, not Canvas. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. Okay. So no, the lectures are here in Canvas, and if you click here, you can watch the lecture right now. This is in Canvas.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and then you're gonna take out some paper and you're gonna be taking notes, copying down everything that you see, all the examples, all the pictures, all the definitions. Basically, if it's on the screen, you need to write it down, just like you would in class. And then you're gonna submit it to me. So in order to submit it to me, um, basically you click there and I have some instructions for you on how to do it.
So we click on the blue, not the start assignment on the right. Is that correct?
Well, the instructions are here, but yeah, once you so here I'll show you. Okay, let's got a teacher account, so let me switch it out. Here's the instructions. To upload a lecture notebook, you'll need to take a picture of each page and combine it into a single PDF file. That's not obvious how to do. Most when you take a picture, it's usually not a PDF file, and how do you combine them into one file for grading? So because of that, I made some instructions for you. So if you have Android, click there. If you have iOS, click there. So for iOS, you're going to need an iPhone or an iPad. You're going to need this app, so click there to download it. You're also going to need the Canvas student app, and you're going to make sure you log in. And then I did little pictures for you on how to use it and how to upload. Okay?
If we
I,
have a different app, they can still do the same thing, like take a picture but convert it to a PDF directly. Can we use that instead?
as long as it uploads as a single PDF file, yes. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll
I
kind
mean,
of sort this out like during the first week. I'll be looking through and but I'll tell you, I've been doing this for like this PDF upload for like 5 years, and within 1 week, people are good. Like you don't need to like read the instructions every time. Once you do it once, you're pretty much good to go.
no, I understand that. I'm sorry, maybe I wasn't clear on my question. I was wondering about the app. Like if, for example, that I have a lens that works off of, Office Lens, and I take the picture and I can upload directly.
Okay.
I don't have to go through this, do I? Like,
You just need to upload a single file, single PDF file. It can't be multiple files, if that makes sense.
yeah, I understand. Okay,
Okay,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, we can work it out if there's some issue. Megan says the link says access denied. Which link are you referring to, Megan?
The link that when you click into the lectures and it says click here for instructions,
Um,
like
here?
Go to
yeah,
student view.
and the blue
Okay.
part, like I don't think that page is published, is it? Or I
Oh,
don't know.
maybe. Ah, you're right. Thank you. All right, now try it. So work now? Maybe refresh and then try it.
Well, let me check.
Okay.
Yeah, it works.
All right. Thanks for letting me know. Appreciate it. All right. Okay. So is that okay for the lectures? You're going to be using your phone basically. Watch them here, get your notes out, write everything out and then upload. And you just take pictures using your phone, using the Genius Scan app on your phone. If you follow the instructions, they're pretty good. All right. And um, the discussions, hopefully these are self-explanatory. I'll kind of help you, during the first week, we'll kind of get everyone up to speed. I'll give you some feedback so you know whether you're doing it right or wrong during the first week and be good to go for the second week. All right, finally, let's jump into the MyLab problems. Um, so this is what it looks like. All right, you've got a bunch of problems here, so let's jump maybe problem 6. Some of the questions are multiple choice towards the beginning, and then they tend to get harder as you go. This one's multiple choice. I would suggest not just choosing and then guessing and moving on. And the reason I say that is because the homework isn't worth a lot. You really want to learn it in order to prepare yourself for the exams. So I think the homework's worth 10% of your grade, and each exam is worth, I mean, exams are 80%. So if you, let's say, use an app to kind of skip through and just get all these points in your homework, it won't really matter because once you take the exams, you won't be able to do anything. Um, so I would suggest as you work through these, have an area where you can write down notes to yourself to help you when you review. Um, you do have some buttons down here at the bottom I mentioned earlier. This one only has an Ask My Instructor button, so you can ask me a question and I'll respond to help you, or I might respond to meet on Zoom. Some of the questions have more buttons available. For example, this one has a Help Me Solve This. It has a calculator. It has Ask My Instructor. But the one students like the most seems to be this one, which is View an Example. So what it is it gives you an example just like the one that you're asked to do. And you can click continue and read through these, and it will walk you through how to do the problem or a similar problem. Okay. So this basically allows you to get help when you can't talk to me, right? So if I'm not in office hours or I'm not available, use use the view and example, use to help me solve this. That way you can continue going. Or if you want, save the problems and bring them to my office hours so I can help you. Okay. Um, as you work through the problems, let's see, let's do one that's later. Pay attention to the notation, pay attention to the brackets here. Um, you have this template here for entering different things, for example, exponents and absolute value and mixed numbers and fractions. You can check answer there. It says it's wrong, so you would read through that. You do get to try it again. Try that. It says it's wrong, and you get one final check. After the final check, it says that's incorrect. Here's the correct answer. Um, if you click OK, what happens is it's now marked this problem wrong. So essentially what that means is you didn't get credit for this question. However, you can redo the problem in general. Um, let's see, let's go back to 24. See, it has an X right there. But if I click on the problem, it's not letting you redo it. Oh, haven't completed it yet. Okay. Well, in any case, once you complete it, there's going to be a little button down there that says something like similar exercise, and then you can always redo the problem to get full points. So essentially, you can always get full credit on your homework if you're willing to spend the time to do it. Okay, and some of them have little animations too. All right, I've kept you guys here about an hour and a half, a little longer than I was hoping. In any case, I'm going to stick around for a little bit. If anyone wants a little talk on the first section, I can go through the first section with you if you want to kind of ease into, what vectors are. I can show you my notes and walk you through that a little bit. But I think for most of you, just go ahead and watch the publisher videos published. You can use the textbook, you can use my notes to help. But for the most part, you're probably going to be using, these buttons down here with the homework. Okay. All right. I'll send a survey out about choosing a time for my office hours. I think they'll be on Friday. So watch out for that. And I'll be sending some announcements out this week. And if you do have any questions, make sure to reach out. Make sure to reach out to me via email or in my office. In my office during office hours would be the best. I do like talking to people, so I hope you reach out and I hope you enjoy this class. Okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna stop recording, but I'm gonna stick around if you got any questions.